Hi, my name is Rich. I'm a librarian at the HCC Library. Today I'm going to give you an overview of how to use the library resources and how to get help. To find our library homepage, go to howardcc.edu and then go to Tools and Resources, click that, go over to Library, then roll below the photo, click Access Library Resources and Services. You'll see many features here. First thing I want to show you is how to get help. You can get help in person via our library hours here at the bottom, both today's hours, but then you can see the upcoming library hours, exceptions, etc. for the fall. Another way you can get help is from home. Go to Ask Us on the right, go to Chat, click on it. You'll see the hours for chat. If this button is green, one of us is logged on and we're here to help you. Whether you get help on chat or by coming into the library, seeing our hours at the bottom, we are happy to help you. Let's turn to your assignment and the research and information literacy skills more broadly. We're going to start with our research help guides here under Get Help, Research Help Guides. There are a number of different short pages here that I recommend you take a few minutes to read. They'll give you a good grounding on how you do research, where you look, the things you should be asking yourself as you're working. Let's look at primary and secondary sources first. You will be required to, for your assignment, produce at least one primary source and one secondary source. What do we mean by that? Well, a primary source means I or we. It's close to the people who created the information. You're reading their original thought. As it says here, primary sources provide direct or first-hand evidence about an event, object, person, or work of art. They're usually written or created during or close to the event or time period being studied. And especially they have not been filtered through interpretation or evaluation. If they've been filtered through somebody else's interpretation or evaluation, then they're secondary. See down here? Secondary is second-hand accounts written after an event. They report on other people, what other people did. They may analyze, they may interpret, they may discuss the original material. They can be based on primary sources, but they are not primary sources themselves. Let me back up here. Now that you have a general idea of primary and secondary sources, we're going to run a couple sample searches. First, though, I want to take you through these simple but excellent checklists on how to evaluate information in general, and then how to apply that to evaluating websites. Let's go to evaluating information first of all. Students sometimes ask us, is this source credible? Is that source credible? How do I know? It's not an easy, quick answer. You have to ask yourself some questions. Try and evaluate what you're reading for clues. Look for evidence. Train your mind. We have a nice checklist here that is a great thing for you to review and start asking these questions about every source. Currency. How recent is the information? That is more or less important in different areas. Relevance, is it on your topic? Authority here. When we talk about authority in terms of information, we're not talking about police or military. We're talking about experts. You can even see that. Is the author an expert on the topic? How do you know? You can look up that author. You can see if they are known for other things. Do other people cite them in their research? Are they well regarded? Are they specialists in a field? It could be a noted historian, or it could be some journalist who just covers a certain topic area. Accuracy. Is the information correct as far as you know it? If it's something about the moon, does it say the moon is made of rock? You don't have to know exactly the composition of the moon to hear if it's made of rock, that's okay. If it says the moon is made of cardboard, well, there's probably some accuracy problem there. Purpose of the information. Why does the information exist? Is somebody just giving you information, or are they trying to persuade you to do something, to buy something, to vote a certain way? So that's basic ways you can train your mind to ask questions and to check other sources and ask these questions before you believe what you read. Back out to the evaluating websites link here. Same kind of stuff. It just applies it to actual web pages. Who's the author? Is it a group of people? Are they experts? Do they use real checkable facts? Do they have citations of their facts? So there's a list of references, so you can check out what they wrote. Do they use neutral language or very incendiary rhetorical language? This is something we're going to look at in a minute. Does the page have a .edu, .org, or .gov? Educational, nonprofit organization, government. That can help you increase your reliance on the information, but it's not perfect. There can be bad information on all of those. Is there a date that shows when the page was last updated? It's good that the page is kept up and it's current. Does it have broken links? That's another indicator of how recent it is. Can you find the information published elsewhere? That's a good way to check it, because if two different sources are reporting the same information, maybe it's accurate. So those are some very basic things you can look at and start asking yourself. Again, it's not a perfect game. It's things you have to look for. Train your own mind. Let's go back out now to the library front page. Let's look at our databases that we have access to. I come to search and find databases in the bottom left here. We currently have access to 169 databases. These are government/open source databases and also subscription databases. There's a way you can narrow down. Go to all subjects, and you can limit by your area. In this case, maybe history. Or there's a law one also you could look at. It would be applicable to your assignment, but click history. And we have what we think are the best databases for history. American government, American history. These might be useful to you. You could click on any one of these, Gale in Context, U.S. history, etc. When you are at home and off the college network, when you click on any of these databases, it will take you to a page that looks like this. That's your off-campus login. All you have to do in here is put your HCC user ID and password in and hit login. So that's how you limit by the subject area of the databases. You can also limit by the type of database. What do they include? Do they include articles? Are they dictionaries and encyclopedias? You might want some good reference material for the basics of your paper. You can also go to ebooks, videos. So that's the database list and how you could narrow by different areas. Another way you could limit the databases is going to our subject guides. Down here under databases, you'll see subject guides. And this, we've taken the same database, we've just organized them by subject area. If you look over here under social sciences, you see Abraham Lincoln there. Next to it, history. This may be what you see if you click the library resources link in your Canvas page. It's the same kind of thing. What we think are the best databases. We have more databases under articles. There is Cite and Write for citation help. We'll talk about that in a minute. Background information, reference material, etc. Just another way to come at it. I want you to be aware of those different ways because I want you to find your own process, find what works for you. Now, another way you can do research very quickly is the Find It Discovery tool. It looks across 50 or 60 of those 169 databases at one time, so it's a very good way to do research. I'm going to do something here. I'm going to put, since the topic is about the different branches of the federal government, I'm going to put in separation of powers. I'm going to put it in quotation marks because I want that exact phrase. I don't want the word separation on page 2, the word powers on page 7. I want the phrase separation of powers. I'm going to put all capital "and" here because I also want information on United States or U.S. Now I put those in parentheses because I want either one of those. I'm telling the computer I want everything you have that has separation of powers and either United States or U.S. in it. These are just techniques you can use. I'm going to hit Find It, and this will bring up a list of results. And I want you to see this. Find It as a very good set of limiting results. Your browser may display it like this without this extra column. If you see it that way, just hit this filters link to expand the column because it's a very useful way to narrow the results. You see we have 8,300 results here. That's a lot. You don't want to read all of those. So you can start on the left here and narrow. Full text online means the entire article should be available right there. Scholarly, you may want to do, these are scholarly academic journals, things like that. Part of your assignment, you may want scholarly sources. Under content type, you can limit it to journal articles. That would be your scholarly material. But you could also limit it to newspaper articles, magazine articles, and a host of other things. I will roll down here because I actually want to show you one that may be useful to you. Reference. In reference, that's those encyclopedia articles, dictionary entries, things like that. So let's limit it to that. And we go from 8,300 now, we're down to 147 results. But you can see separation of powers. There's a good encyclopedia entry there. Congress and the President talks about how they relate to each other with checks and balances. There's another search term for you. Advice and consent, etc. Well, there's checks and balances, as a matter of fact. So that's how you could do it with reference material. And whatever you do, however you limit it, notice you can also limit by publication date, etc. There are some other features I invite you to try out on your own time. And if you have questions, again, remember you can walk in and talk with us, or you can hit us up on that live chat. Now, what do you do with an article once you find it? I'm going to click one here. Let's go to checks and balances. There we go. That will take us to an article, complete encyclopedia article, because we limited by full text, okay? And you can use that. Most databases will let you share it some way, get it over to email or what have you. You can always save it to your computer if you're using your own computer that day. What else will you want to do with it? You'll also want to cite it. Most databases will give you a link to cite, but be careful. It won't necessarily give you the style you need. You will need to select your style. You need Chicago for this class. And then you can copy and paste this into your page. It won't be completely formatted correctly. It won't have a hanging indentation or anything, but at least it's a style. And sometimes, be advised, there are sometimes mistakes in the capitalization or other things in these citations. I tell you that because we're going to look at a Cite and Write page we have in the library where you can check that information. There we go. So we click on Chicago, and then you could copy this. Some of the other pages, different databases, different vendors. Some of them are, there's one, enumerated and implied powers. It's a different database entirely, but again, you see a save button there. And email, you do not need to email it to your HCC email address. Send it wherever you want it to go. You can print it out, get the link. You can get the permanent, dependable link, because some of these subscription databases, you don't want to use the link at the top of the browser, because that's a session or temporary link. If you see a get link or permalink or chain link icon, that's the link you want. The links are usually good once you use the cite function. And that one is going to give you a list of citation styles. Other companies you may see ProQuest databases like this. In that case, again, save as PDF, cite, make sure it goes to the right style for you. If not, change it, okay? Whether you're using Chicago author date or Chicago notes and bib, check with your instructor, please. Email it to yourself. Again, the permanent dependable link. Again, up here, I would not use this link. It's a temporary link. But the citation will give it to you, or you can find it here under all options. It's right there. Another company we have is Gale. There's an article in Gale Academic One file. Again, cite, send it to whatever email address, print it, get the permanent link if you need it. Another company is EBSCO. There's the whole article here, or over on the side, PDF full text. Your buttons are on the right here. Permalink, you can cite it. It will give you a list of styles. Email it to wherever, send it on your OneDrive, your Google Drive, etc. And then there are other variations as well. Too many to go into here. So once you have found articles, and remember, by the way, if this search doesn't give you what you want, you can always change any part of this. You could do "and Congress," for example. You could do completely different. You could do U.S. government and 3 branches. Remember those quotes, the parentheses we talked about. Each change will give you different results. You can do as many searches as you want. Let's do one more thing. Remember that evaluating information out in using .gov and whatnot? Let's just do a Google search. I'm not even in the library databases here. I'm going to type in Constitution. And I'm going to do something here. I want just .gov. I want government websites on this. Cite::gov. If I wanted .edu, I could do cite::edu. Nonprofits, cite::org, etc. And you'll see I get a whole bunch of results. The first one is the homepage for the U.S. Senate, where they have a link on the Constitution of the United States. Archives, that's National Archives. Let's look at this one. The Constitution of the United States, a transcription. You see, here's the whole Constitution, all the sections, all the articles, and it's a transcription. So it's the same as it came out of there. You can actually see if you want to look at the actual original Constitution, but it lays out here all the parts of it. Let's go back to our search. I'll show you one more quick thing here. There are other sites, constitution.congress.gov. There's the Library of Congress, the annotated Constitution. Over here, you could go up here for the actual text of the Constitution, or you could read about the annotation on the Constitution. Now remember, primary and secondary. Primary means the actual Constitution. Annotation is the commentary on the Constitution, and that is inherently secondary source. It's not the original Constitution. It's if somebody else's gloss on it, their opinion. Let me go to Article 1, which enumerates the powers of Congress. And you see, Section 1, you kind of have to look at it a little bit here. Section 1, all legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in the Congress, etc. That's from the Constitution. That's primary. However, everything under it here, until you get to the next part, is secondary. It's explanation, overview of the legislative vesting clause. That is not in the Constitution itself. This is somebody else's summary for your benefit. It could be very good information, but it's not primary. This part above it is primary. This part down here, these 2 paragraphs, secondary. So just be careful how you use this. I hope that helps you a little bit get started. One final thing is Get Help, our Cite and Write page here. Remember I told you those citations you may grab from database articles? Sometimes they have mistakes. They're a good start. Sometimes they have mistakes. So you want to go into Cite and Write, go to your style, and whichever style you're working in whatever class, there's some helpful things here, quick guides and things like that, but you can also go over to the side and get help on how to do footnotes or how to do author date, depending on which style you're using. And then it has some examples. We also have in here a paper template so you can download and start writing directly in the right style. And we have other features in here. So that's the basics of this. I know this video is already going pretty long here. I remind you, you're welcome to do your searches, and when you have questions, come see us by the library hours at the bottom, or contact us on chat. If this button is green, there's at least one of us logged in. Or you can use these tabs on the side. Tell us who you are, give us a good email address. This email address does not have to be HCC. Give me any email address you want us to contact you at. Tell us your course number, your instructor, that's helpful sometimes. And then just start, hi, I've found this, I'm having trouble citing it, can you remind me how to do it? Whatever it is, start the chat and we'll be there. Thank you very much. We are here to help you.